Imagine this. Your best friend just broke down in front of you, tears streaming down their face, telling you how everyone has turned against them. You feel an instant urge to protect them, help them, make sure they're okay. But what if, just what if, none of it was true? Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful and deceptive psychological tactics, playing the victim. It's a tactic that has the potential to twist reality, bend relationships, and destroy trust, all while leaving you thinking you're the bad guy. Playing the victim isn't just about faking tears or throwing a pity party. No, it's much deeper, more dangerous. It's about mastering the art of manipulation without anyone suspecting a thing. You see, when someone pretends to be the victim, they're not only seeking sympathy, they're controlling how you perceive them, and in turn, they're controlling you. Let me tell you a story. Meet Sarah. Sarah is charming, likable, and always seems to find herself in the middle of unfortunate events. She's constantly complaining about how unfair life is. Her coworkers are always out to get her, her family doesn't appreciate her, her friends let her down. And one day, you become her confidant. She shares her troubles with you, over and over again. You feel sorry for Sarah. She tells you about how someone at work blamed her for something she didn't do, how her family accuses her of being selfish when all she does is try to help. You listen, nod, offer your support. After all, she's been through so much. But here's the catch. None of this is entirely true. What Sarah is doing is a textbook example of playing the victim. She's making sure she always seems like the innocent party, the one who's wronged. The more she tells these stories, the more you sympathize with her. The more invested you become in helping her. You start defending her to others, standing up for her, and even making sacrifices for her. But here's where it gets really dark. The truth is, Sarah isn't being mistreated. In fact, she's often the one causing the problems. The friend she complains about, she undermined them first. The coworker who's supposedly out to get her, she manipulated them to take the fall for her own mistakes. But why? Why would someone go to such lengths to play the victim? The answer is simple: control. When someone plays the victim, they gain emotional leverage over you. They're crafting a narrative that ensures they stay in the center of attention. They get to escape accountability because, in your mind, they're the one who needs rescuing. It creates a dynamic where you're constantly giving and they're constantly taking, and you don't even realize it's happening. Now imagine this same tactic playing out on a larger scale, in families, workplaces, even entire social groups. Suddenly, one person becomes the focus of everyone's sympathy and protection. But behind closed doors, they're the puppet master, controlling the emotions, reactions, and actions of everyone around them. What's most terrifying about this? It's that you never see it coming, because you trust them. And trust is the perfect disguise for manipulation. Let's break it down. First, the victim player creates a scenario where they're the underdog, helpless and alone. They describe events that paint them as the target of unfair treatment. It doesn't even have to be extreme. It could be as simple as saying, "No one at work listens to me," or "My friends never invite me out." It's subtle enough that you don't question it. Then they escalate. They share more and more instances of mistreatment, leaving out crucial details or twisting facts. They cry, they get angry, they use emotional cues to make you feel for them. And because you're a compassionate person, you step in. By the time you realize you've been manipulated, it's too late. You've already lost trust in others. You've distanced yourself from people who could have been allies. And the victim? They've positioned themselves right where they want to be, at the center of your concern, without any of the blame. What makes this tactic so effective? It's because we're wired to empathize with suffering. When we see someone in pain, we instinctively want to help. It's a survival instinct. But manipulators like Sarah take advantage of this instinct. They know that if they play the part well enough, they can bypass your critical thinking. It becomes nearly impossible to separate their lies from the truth. But here's the most dangerous part. Playing the victim isolates you. It puts you in a position where you start questioning yourself, doubting your own judgments, and becoming dependent on the person you're trying to save. How do you protect yourself from this tactic? Recognize the signs. Pay attention to patterns. Are they always the one who's being wronged? Do they seem to never take accountability for their actions? Do their stories never quite add up, but you can't put your finger on why? These are red flags. And remember, the person playing the victim doesn't always look like a villain. Sometimes they're the kindest, most charming person in the room, but behind that mask, they're using your empathy as their weapon. If this sounds familiar, it's not too late. Start questioning, start thinking critically, and most importantly, don't let guilt or sympathy cloud your judgment. Because in the game of manipulation, the victim isn't always who they seem.